We are revisiting another classic album this week. We got one of our favorites, Tyler the Creator, his Wolf project from 2013. Is that when it came out? Wolf came out in 2013.
2013, yeah, you were right.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow, I'm a fan. This is an album that I definitely didn't get when it first came out. I was 13 years old, and this would probably scare me, and my mom would be mad if I listened to it. But as I got older and I became more of a fan of Tyler, I went back to this, and I fucking love this project. I'm a big fan of it. I'm happy that we did this because this is a whole different era of Tyler. I think that everyone who became fans at Flower Boy and on, they got a lot of great music. They got Tyler, I think, probably at his peak, but this is foundational to who he is and what he became. And I think that it's really important that if you're actually a fan of him, maybe go back and listen to this because I don't think you'll love everything, but I think there's definitely some great things you can take away from the project.
Definitely a great project. And you can kind of definitely see where Tyler was going. There's moments that sound like Flower Boy, as there are on Cherry Bomb, where it's in hindsight, it's always been obvious, but you might not have known in 2013 because of the kind of music he was making, and some of the songs on there are super abrasive.
And he's young, he's a really young kid. I think that the horrorcore genre of music was more prominent back then. Eminem, we were talking about, was literally obviously a comparison, but then like Hobson and people like that, like the really lyrical guys were trying to find a way to kind of break through and get a little more popular. And I think that the way that they were doing it back then was shock value.
Right.
And I think Tyler, being so young and not giving a fuck as he still does now, really leaned into it, and it worked. And it was effective for him. And I think that he kept doing it for a while. And this was one of the last projects when I feel like it shackled him, because on Bastard, it's on basically every song.
Yeah.
Like every song he's wilding, every beat he's trying to like do some weird shit. And it's really funny to me when you hear like those beautiful chords kind of sneak through in moments. And on this one, when you get to a song like Tree Home 95 and things like that, it's like, oh, there's Cherry Bomb.
Yeah.
You want to do this, but you don't know how to do it yet all the way. You know what I mean? It's a great project, bro. Do you want to kind of leave with the questions and stuff like that?
Yeah, I guess, before we get into the questions, Miles, I know you're a huge Oddly Future fan, Tyler fan. I was wondering if you could walk us through the concept behind this album a little bit.
It's like a therapy session where it's not therapy really. So Tyler, with those first couple albums, was in therapy. When you go back to Bastard, that's what it's whole set up as. He's having a conversation with this deep voice version of himself, which is supposed to be his therapist. With this one, he's talking to him and then he goes to summer camp. Or he might be talking to him at a summer camp. One of those two things. But Tyler is kind of playing this main character, nice guy, while also playing this other kid at the camp who's really aggressive, doesn't fuck with him off rip. And you can kind of hear the story switching back and forth between their perspectives on the album. So like the really chaotic, kind of crazy songs are him talking from, I forget.
Is it Salem?
Yes,
Yeah.
Salem. And Wolf is Tyler.
Yeah.
And he's very like, I wouldn't say naive, but he's just kind of quieter. Been through some shit, kind of is dealing with his own demons. And then Salem is just like fucked up, kind of crashing out type shit.
And Salem's got a girlfriend too.
Yeah, and Wolf likes his girl.
Yeah. I love this story. It was definitely one of the early concept albums, because I was listening to this around the same time I was getting all my first hip hop. You know what I mean? Good Kid, Bad City.
Yeah.
Showed me what a concept album was, and I came here and I was like, oh, this is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like you said, this didn't pique my interest off rip. It took me a while. I think 2016, 2017 around is when I went back, and really appreciated it. But what was your experience with this album when it first came out?
Yeah, when it first came out, I didn't get it. I think Tyler took me a while to get into. I'm not gonna lie. I think I like introspective Tyler a little bit more, and I think like I was probably one of the many people that was really converted after Flower Boy, because I've been listening to Tyler like all throughout high school and like following the Odd Future movement, but there were just some moments I didn't get. I think I was a little young and not necessarily dealing with the same things as he was, because he was a young person. But I do feel like we were going through different struggles. Like when I go back and listen to this and think about it through the lens of a therapy session, I understand its brilliance, right? Because it's written like a play. There's a lot of narration, and you're taken through an emotional roller coaster of internal turmoil that he's facing, from problems with women. At the time, he probably didn't realize this, but his own sexuality, problems with his family and his father, like just trying to figure out how to navigate the music scene and becoming famous. I think on the song Colossal, he talks about the whole song is literally about him being at a park trying to enjoy his day, or being like at an amusement park or something like that. Mm-hmm. And fans coming up to him and he's like, I guess I have to do this, but like, bro, it's not that I don't care about y'all. I just don't have the energy to do this. And then they're talking about how much they love him and all this, and how they changed his life, or he changed their life, whatever. It's a pretty interesting self-reflective project. I just think that at this point, Tyler was a little bit too turbulent and too like not emotionally settled for me to really enjoy it. I really like Tyler with the melodies. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really
like Tyler when he act tough.
I don't like Tyler when he acts tough. I don't like Rager Tyler. There's some points where he does it really well. Mm-hmm. I think Domo 23 is one of my favorite tracks on this project, and it's like a classic like Rage song from like the Odd Future era.
Yeah,
like just like the fuck that Gulf Wang, like that shit is so hard to me. But you know, I don't really love it personally in terms of my own music taste when he is like doing that, and then he like switches over to like the emotional shit, and then like the emotional shit will be like soothing, and you're like and then he'll start playing those like minor dissonant chords that are super eerie and jarring, and you're like bro, I want to just like sit back, but you're making me feel like I'm like on like an acid trip or something. Like edge, I'm like, bro, like it's the whole album plays with your emotions. I don't love it for easy listening, but I think looking back on it, I understand it's brilliant a little bit more.
I agree. I think it shows his talent. Mm-hmm. I think that it shows his talent because I don't think many people could do this at such a young age. I think that the way that he knows, he's basically saying what everyone's thinking and like the thoughts that are in the back of your head, and like I would never act on these feelings, but this is how I actually feel on the inside. This is actually what I'm thinking on the inside. And I think he knows this. I think Tyler has enough sense to know I probably shouldn't say this, but he also knew the reaction that saying something like that would elicit. I think that what's really dope about a song like Colossus too is you see him growing out of that. Because he's like, I'm sick of hearing about Yonkers. You know what I mean? All these kids love him for the Bastard era when he first got on. Because we forget that like Odd Future hit off jump.
Yeah.
Like that dropped, Earl Tape dropped, like everything just kind of went crazy from there. The whole group and everything. I mean, this brings me back to like, I was obviously a little bit late. My first Flog Gnaw was 2017, 2018. I think 2018.
Was Flower Boy out?
No. Did Flower Boy release in
2017?
2017, yes. So I think it was out, yes. Yes, Flower Boy was out the first time. No.
But it wasn't at Dodger. Was that Exposition?
It was at Exposition Park. That was the last one at Exposition Park.
Got it.
And just kind of seeing the growth and the fan base and like the fact that Tyler's old merch is still selling out. And the fact that people are all wearing that. Like he created a cult fan base with this sound.
Yeah.
And this was the sound of the youth. And now this has blossomed so many amazing careers. And he has so many kids in the industry that just are trying to sound like him and take his energy. This was dope to go back and listen to, man.
Definitely dope, and definitely a moment where you see the origin story and see moments of greatness. You see the foundation for a great storyteller, a great musician, a great
produced
songwriter.
Everything.
Yeah, great producer. I think I went back and I thought the same thing I've kind of always thought, where I don't think it is better than anything that followed it, but it definitely is the framework. Miles, what do you think, going back, do you think this album just standalone as an album is great? Do you think it's great with context? Like how do you feel about the album going back?
If someone said they didn't like it, I'd be like, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad at you. Do I think the album is great? Yes. Do I think that like it's like I give it like a 7 or an 8? Like it's a really good album. It's a really, really good album. I think it's a strong album. I think it's an impressive album. I think this is a really, really good rap album. Do I think it's a classic? No. Do I think it's some of like the top of his discography? No. But yeah, I think it's nothing to scoff at. I think it's a really, really impressive body of work.
Definitely. Osei, what do you think? What's your favorite song on here?
Answer is by far my favorite song. It's by far my favorite song. It may not even be the most technically best song, but this is what I love about Tyler, right? I think it is masterful storytelling. I think it's the first time I heard Tyler talk about something that actually troubled him in a serious way. The whole song is about his father and just like the concept of like, if he even called him, would he answer? And if he did answer, how would that conversation go? And I think it's important to get that out of him because you start to understand why he is what he is and why he acts the way he does. It's like, okay, this dude has a troubled past. You know what I'm saying? He is like looking for a father figure that like isn't there. You know? And I think that it's a message a lot of people can relate to. And I think that his fan base definitely activated more of his fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like it's super relatable. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I think it added more maturity to him.
More maturity for sure.
I think critics and adults who would go in with those preconceived notions of the kid eating the cockroach and probably hear the first couple of songs and want to hate will then have to hear this and be like, wait, these are really well articulated thoughts, great production. Like it's a turn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also like still immature, which is why it plays to what you're saying as relatable. You know what I mean?
Is it immature?
Because he hasn't worked through the feelings yet. And even at the end of the song, the last verse, I think, is his most longing for this father figure. And at the end of the verse, he says, that last verse was about a girl, though. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know if it really was or if he's just still a little embarrassed. It's not, I wouldn't say it's immature because the perspective isn't well thought out or well articulated. I'd say it's immature because it's not necessarily proud of his feelings, and I don't think he understands his feelings yet. And he articulates that well.
I think that that's something that, and like obviously I'm fortunate enough to not have to understand that situation, but to me, I don't think that those feelings that he articulates ever go away. And I think that it's really impressive that he's able to understand it as a young kid, because I take it from the perspective, he's like, I'm not going to show this. On my exterior, I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to move on with my life. I'm going to be fine. Like, this is not really like going to like be detrimental to my story. But in the back of my head, gun to my head, if I have to be honest about how I'm feeling, these are my thoughts. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is all stuff that you would never actually say. This is stuff that's in like the back of your head. And I see what you're saying. Like, maturity would be working through that and like dealing with that. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if anyone ever would. Like, I think even the most mature person, even the most emotionally intelligent person, somewhere in their back of their head is still like, you know,
that's fair.
Like, I want this relationship is not right. You know,
I think it's weird because maybe this is also me growing up, but I feel like this was the first time I realized, oh, this dude is just saying all this and like using all these like images and things as coping mechanisms for like larger problems he might have. Like I guess like as like a young teen, like I didn't really like understand that idea. I thought he was just like a crazy dude. I thought he was just really weird. And then I was like, oh, there's like more here that I'm not really understanding.
And the F-bombs sound different now when you see what he's become, you know what I mean? To me, honestly. Like, I think that like just, you didn't know that at the time. So when he said it, it was a little bit more inflammatory and felt like different. Now, it's still, I mean, I don't think you could go around saying that shit. You can't be playing this around everyone. People might look at you crazy, but it does have a different tone to it. I don't know. I even see it on a 48 is one of my favorite songs on the album. And I think that was the first time Tyler's really looking at what he might have as an influence to the world. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like he's looking outside of himself a little bit more. Awkward also. Shout out Ian Triplin for like popularizing that song. That's like, I go back and I look at my Apple Music top played songs of the year in 2017. I think that was like my number like 5 most played song of the year.
Yeah.
I love Awkward. Colossus is incredible. Lone fucking to close the album is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you guys like Slater?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, it's a
Frank
great song.
bodied that. Frank
a great
bodied that.
My favorite is definitely 48.
Yeah.
You mentioned it before, but especially knowing how big of a fan of Pharrell and Pusha T Tyler was, to hear him make a drug dealer song laced with I'm Sorry and talk about how, you know, he's trying so hard to do the blinged out, you know, Mr. Feed Your Nose persona, but like the whole time he's so like regretful because he knows he's destroying families and like ending lives, and he knows that the whole time. And he says I'm sorry probably 100 times throughout that song, just like in between these verses about him like selling dope. It's
Cuba
it's,
Gooding Jr. at the end.
yeah, that song is really powerful. I think that's easily my favorite on the album.
I fucking hate you's crazy. Also Beamer.
Yeah.
Like I fucking hate you was like one of them ones.
Oh, if you're breaking that 3 song up,
Beamer's crazy.
that could be the best song on the album too. You remind me of my Beamer.
Tree Home 95 also is just like I could play that around.
Is that the track with Erykah Badu?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that song.
Do you have more things? I don't want because I could just go into it, but I don't want to like jump.
No, I don't really have anything.
Okay,
else.
okay. A song. I love the question you asked last time about a song that we didn't like at first. That like
Yeah.
going back we love now. I was not a huge fan of Trash Wang. And the ending of not Trash Wang, Parking Lot. Parking Lot with Casey Veggies.
Yeah.
But the second half of that, when I went back this week, was incredible to me.
That's one that I caught this week too that I didn't catch before.
Wow. Amazing. Jamba, I've always been a really big fan of. Rusty, I mean, just the vocal performance from everyone and how animated they are on that is crazy. What I Would Do for a Longer Earl verse is crazy. The fact that Tyler is talking about Earl's mom on there is insane. Like it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I really like Cowboy too. I've always really liked Cowboy. That's always been one of my favorites.
Tamale I also didn't appreciate until Flock Knock. Seeing
Yeah,
that
you
on
got
my
to see
first
that live
Flock Knock,
because I feel like he always does that.
yeah. This is a really, really great album. I think that once again, if you're a Tyler fan or you like are new to the fandom or whatever, just tap into this. I think this is cool. I think you're gonna definitely grab a couple cuts off this. From here, I would go Cherry Bomb after listening to this, man. What's your favorite Tyler album? Ever?
I think I realized while making our list that it's Flower Boy.
Really?
Yep.
It's either Cherry Bomb or Flower Boy. But after I don't know which one of y'all said it. After one of y'all said Igor was like the album of the century or whatever y'all said. I listened to it again and I really like it.
I go
I'm not
Cherry
gonna lie.
Bomb or Igor as my favorite Tyler album.
See, I used to always say it was Igor, but now after doing the songs, like every song on Flower Boy is incredible,
But every song on Igor is incredible.
but in a different way.
Yeah.
I might like to play Igor front to back better. Igor might still be my number one. I think Flower Boy, the song standalone better.
Igor is his easiest album to listen to.
I think that Flower Boy is the easiest album to listen to.
Well, when I say listen to, I mean listen to by yourself, but also just like if you were to throw it on in the car with other people in there, it wouldn't be weird.
I mean, Pothole and Garden Shed are that's
Well,
special.
let's stop getting into it because we're gonna do a draft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We gotta
So